Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss part 2 of chapter 2 from your class 11 biology syllabus. The name of the chapter is biological classification. Already we have discussed part 1 of this chapter. So from part 1 we came to know about the classification system and the description of kingdom Monera. So today we are going to discuss the part 2 portion of the biological classification, and in this video we will discuss about the kingdom Protista. So before starting the today's class, you must know one thing, that from now onwards every examination will be held in MCQ format. Okay, so please go through it and go through your textbook thoroughly, and the next thing, please go through your videos properly. Okay, so now I am going to discuss the kingdom Protista. So let's start the today's class. So today we are going to discuss the kingdom Protista. So first you should know what is the meaning of Protista. So this Protista actually one of the most important Greek word, and the protiostistos. Okay, so the meaning of this protistos is the first of all. So this kingdom Protista is the kingdom of all unicellular organism, all unicellular and colonial eukaryotes. Okay. So, except some unicellular members of algae and fungi. So, this kingdom was created by Haeckel in the year of 1866 to include all those microorganisms which do not show differentiation of tissues. So, later on the kingdom Protista was reserved for only unicellular eukaryotes, and protists were the first eukaryotes to evolve on the earth some 1600 million years ago. So, all other eukaryotes developed from them. So, what is the main characteristics of kingdom Protista? So, all single-celled eukaryotes are placed under Protista, and members of Protista under primarily aquatic. So, maximum organisms are actually aquatic in nature. So, this kingdom forms a link with the others dealing with the plants, animals and fungi. So, this kingdom actually forms a link with the others which is dealing with the plants, animals and fungi. So, being eukaryotes, the Protistan cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles also. So, these protists reproduce asexually and sexually by a process involving the cell fusion and the zygote formation. So, I am repeating again. So, what is the meaning of the kingdom Protist? I am repeating again. So, what is the main characteristics of kingdom Protist? There are several characteristics are also there. The first characteristics is, it is the kingdom of all unicellular and colonial eukaryotes. The important members are diatoms, dinoflagellates and euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans. Most of them are aquatic and constitute the plankton. Okay. Plankton means the aquatic microorganism. Plankton means the aquatic microorganism. So there are two types of plankton is there. One is the zooplankton. Zooplankton means the animals microorganism. Another one is the phytoplankton. Another one is the phytoplankton, the plants microorganism. Okay, please keep it in your mind. So, being unicellular and colonial, protistans have a simple organization. However, cell structure shows high degree of organization, double envelope system, presence of true nucleus, vacuoles and the membrane-bound cell organelles are also there. So, normally this Protista has several types. Protista has several types. The Christophytes, dinoflagellates, protozoans, slime mold and the euglenoids. I am repeating again. This Protista has several types. these Christophytes, these dinoflagellates, these protozoans, these slime molds, and the euglenoids. So now I am coming to the describe these different kinds of the types. Okay, these protistans, these all those things. So first is the Christophytes. First is the Christophytes. So this is actually one of the most important types of protista. So it is a group of golden algae. So it is the group of golden algae. So this a major type of Christophytes are diatoms. A similar group of green algae is called the desmids. So this group actually includes diatoms and the golden algae, and they are found in fresh water as well as in marine environments also. So they are microscopic and float passively in water currents. So most of them are photosynthetic in nature. Most of them are photosynthetic in nature. Okay. So what is the occurrence of these Christophytes? The diatoms actually occur in all aquatic and semi-aquatic habitats. Diatoms actually occur in all aquatic and semi-aquatic habitats like the sea water, like fresh water, like moist soil, like marshes, etc. So in aquatic habitat, the diatoms around both in surface water as phytoplankton and over bottom as benthic forms. Okay, different kinds of the places are actually favorable for this Christophytes growth. Abundance, what is the abundance and form? So these diatoms are actually the microscopic in nature. Like different kinds of the size and shape is there, like circles, semicircles, rectangular, triangular, spindle shaped, all those things. And photosynthetic, as because these Christophytes are actually the photosynthetic in nature, so they have the photosynthetic pigments also. As because these Christophytes are photosynthetic in nature, so they have photosynthetic pigments. So they are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids, all those things. Fucoxanthin is also there. Fucoxanthin occurs in diatoms and provides a brownish tinge. Okay, and the nutrition, as because they are photosynthetic, so nutrition is obviously the photosynthesis process. So some diatom species are devoid of chromatophores. Okay, and different kinds of the reproduction strategy is also there for these Christophytes, like the binary fission. I think all of you know this thing, that from one organism to different organisms are there. Okay, so this is the main important characteristics of Christophytes. Next is the dinoflagellates. Next type is the dinoflagellates. Okay. So what is the meaning of this dinoflagellate? This dinoflagellate means the whole algae. Okay. So these dinoflagellate are biflagellate unicellular golden brown photosynthetic algae. So these organisms are mostly marine and the photosynthetic in nature. Okay, just look at this structure, these red tides, all those things are there. So these are actually belongs to the dinoflagellates. Okay. So they appear yellow, green, brown, blue, red depending on the main pigments present in their cells. Okay. So the cell wall has steep cellulose plates on the outer surface. The cell wall has steep cellulose plates on the outer surface, and most of them have two flagella. Very often red dinoflagellate undergoes such rapid multiplication that they make the sea appear red. So that's why they are called the red tide. That's why this is called the red tide, because the presence of the dinoflagellates. So these toxins are actually released by such large numbers, may even kill other marine animals such as fishes. So what is the main characteristics of it? So it has different kinds of the characteristics, like color. It's commonly called the golden brown, but yellow, brown, red, green, all those colors are actually visible. What is the form of it? So they are unicellular and biflagellate in nature. They are unicellular and biflagellate in nature. However, amoeboid, colonial and filamentous types are also occur. Okay. Next thing, they are plankton. So they are important component of plankton is there. So at times they grow in such abundance to form the blooms also. Okay. What is the nutrition of it? That it's the photosynthetic or holophytic in nature. That some members are saprotrophic, parasitic, symbiotic, all those things are there. Okay. So as because they have flagella, so due to this peculiar flagellation, motile dinoflagellates show rolling and spinning type of locomotion. Okay. So this is the dinoflagellates. Okay. Next thing is the euglenoids. This euglenoids is also one of the most important Greek word, the euglene eye words. Okay. Eu means the well, glene means the eyeball and eodes means the form. So these euglenoids are euglena-like unicellular flagellates which possesses pellicles instead of the cell wall. Okay. So an anterior invagination is also there, and eyespot, plastids and palaphyllum as reserve food material. So these euglenoids are freshwater organisms which is found in the stagnant water. This is not the marine organisms. These euglenoids are not the marine organisms. Okay. So these euglenoids are actually the freshwater organisms which is found in stagnant water. So instead of a cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called the pellicle. Instead of a cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called the pellicle, which makes their body flexible. Okay, so they do not have any kinds of the cell wall. So though they are photosynthetic in the presence of sunlight, when deprived of sunlight they behave like heterotrophs by predating on other smaller organisms. Interestingly, the pigments of euglenoids are identical to those present in the higher plants. So what is the important characteristics of euglenoids? Occurrence that they occur in most fresh waters, moist soil, mud and puddles, salt water and marine forms also occur. And euglenoids often form blooms in those ponds and puddles which are visited by animals. So what is the form of these euglenoids? That euglenoids are unicellular eukaryotes, so they are mostly motile and flagellate, but a small group is non-motile and covered by the mucilage sheath. So flagella is their own locomotory organ. Okay. And apart from this, their locomotion is different kind. There are two types of locomotions are also there, like the flagellar locomotion and the metabolic euglenoid movement. So flagellar locomotion is that it occurs with the help of longer flagellum which shows undulatory movement, and metabolic is the euglenoid movement. It's a wriggling type of movement where a wave of contraction and expansion passes from one end to the other end of the body. So this is the basic characteristics of the euglenoids, and the example is euglena. Next is the slime molds. Next is the slime molds or protista fungi. It's also called the protista fungi. So they constitute a group of over 600 species which were called the Mycetozoa. Okay, and it included among fungi under division Myxomycota. So these slime molds are actually simple organisms which is characterized by the presence of naked plasmodium or pseudoplasmodium is there, which is cellulose covered spores inside sporangia, and formation of Myxa amoebae from the spores. So these slime molds are saprophytic protists. These slime molds are the saprophytic is nature. So the body moves along decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. So what is the meaning of the saprophytic? Saprophytic means the getting nutrition from the dead and decaying organism. Okay, so what is the occurrence? These slime molds are actually abundant in mostly terrestrial places which is rich in the decaying organic food. Okay, so what is the chemical nature? Their body is either uninucleate or multinucleate. Okay, and nutrition is also there. The slime molds are the heterotrophic in nutrition. It's not the autotrophic. It's actually the heterotrophic. Why? Because they cannot produce their own food. They cannot produce their own food. They are actually responsible. They are actually dependent on the animals and the plants, dead and decaying animals and plants. Okay, it's both saprophytic and the phagotrophic also. So their life cycle, what is there? And they actually control all two types of reproduction, the asexual and the sexual. So in the asexual reproduction, it occurs by the binary fission, fragmentation, cyst formation and spore formation, and in the sexual reproduction it involves the fusion of similar or dissimilar gametes. Okay, the life cycle is both the protistance of life cycle, diplonic and the haplotonic life cycle occurs in the slime molds. Next thing is the protozoans. Okay, so I think all of you have heard this term, this protozoa. This protozoan protist. Okay, so Greek word protos, it's this word coming from the Greek word protos, zoon. Okay, protos means the first and zoon means the animal. So they are microscopic unicellular and colonial non-photosynthetic organism. I am repeating again, they are microscopic, unicellular and colonial non-photosynthetic organisms, okay, which were actually previously placed in phylum Protozoa of kingdom Animalia. So all protozoans are heterotrophs. They are not the autotrophic organism and live as predators or parasites. So they are believed to be primitive relatives of animals, and there are four major groups of protozoans. That the first one is so before starting all those things, you should know one thing, what is the characteristics of this protozoa. So what is the occurrence of this protozoa? So these protozoans protists occur in all aquatic habitats. A number of them are commensals and the parasites. Nature. So what is the nature? That they are unicellular or colonial, and in colonial species the individual cells are alive and independent. And organization, it is acellular and protoplasmic in nature. What is the organization? It's acellular and protoplasmic in nature, and they have different types of shapes like the globular shape, oval shape, spindle shape, bell shape, slipper like or irregular shape is there. Okay, so they have contractile vacuoles, they have nucleus, they have reserved food material. They actually perform two types of reproduction also, asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. In the asexual reproduction, it occurs by the binary fission, multiple fission, budding and the sporulation, and in the sexual reproduction it is performed by through the fusion of gametes and conjugation. So types of protozoans. Okay, normally there are two types of protozoans are there, like amoeboid protozoans and the flagellated protozoans. I am repeating again, there are two types of protozoans are there, amoeboid protozoans and the flagellated protozoans. So amoeboid protozoans, these organisms live in the fresh water, sea water and the moist soil. So they move and capture their prey by putting out the pseudopodia. So their locomotory organ is the pseudopodia. Okay, their locomotory organ is not flagella. Their locomotory organ is pseudopodia. Just look at the structure. By spreading pseudopodia, they can move, as in amoeba. So some of them, such as the antamoeba, are parasites. Okay. Next thing is the flagellated protozoans. So these members of this group are either free living or parasitic, and they have flagella. Okay, they do not have pseudopodia. They have flagella, and the parasitic forms cause the disease such as the sleeping sickness, example trypanosoma. Next thing is the ciliated protozoans. So these are aquatic actively moving organisms because of the presence of thousands of cilia. So they have a cavity that opens to the outside of the cell surface, example paramecium. So these are, I am repeating again, so they have the cilia as their locomotory organ. They have cilia as their locomotory organ. So these are aquatic actively moving organisms because of the presence of thousands of cilia. They have a cavity that opens to the outside of the cell surface, example paramecium. Next thing is the sporozoans. So this includes diverse organisms that have an infectious spores-like stages in their life cycle. So the most notorious is Plasmodium, which is the pathogen of the malaria, which causes malaria, which has a 3 staggering effect on the human population. So this is the actually the types of the protista. This is actually the types of protista. Okay. So from this protista portion, several types of question may come, several types of MCQ questions may come, that contractile vacuoles does not occur in, suppose I am giving this type of question that pseudopodia is present in which organism, then I have given 4 types of species name. Okay. Then you have to click the correct answer. Okay, there are several types of the questions may come, like the black water fever is due to some organism's name, like trypanosoma produces which disease, or bioluminescence is found in which for what organisms, or the which one of the following is a slime mold, so the vector for Kalazor is. So all those kinds of question may come from this portion. Or diatoms are placed under which thing, unicellular eukaryotic organisms are placed in kingdom, which kingdom, unicellular algae, diatoms and protozoans are members of which thing. Okay, trypanosoma is which organism, the slime molds, or what is the meaning of slime molds, what's not true for paramecium. So all those types of question may come from that portion. Okay, so with this slide we have completed this protozoa, okay, this kingdom protista. So already we have completed monada and protista. In our next class we will going to discuss Plantae, Animalia and fungi. Okay, so I hope this video will help you a lot for better understanding. So do check properly, do check thoroughly. Okay, and in the meantime, if any queries are there, just ask me in my number. Thank you. Bye.